Hello, welcome to Glitter Goddess Yoga. My name is Am. Trent will join us today to practice. Today is, I'm calling this full moon yoga flow. It is the last full moon of the year 2020, which has been a lot to say the least. So this moon is all about restoring and getting quiet enough to hear what the body and mind needs to before hibernation, before going into more of a slowed down space. It was called the cold moon by the Native Americans, of course, because we're moving into the coldest part of the season, shortest days. And so a lot of that had to do around food and seeds and how planting works. So a part of that philosophy is just recognizing that this is the best time to reflect and to really just get quiet enough to listen into what we need to move into the next year. This class is an engagement for the Winter Walking Meditations album that the House of Glitter is releasing. So the last 2 weeks and over the next 3 weeks, I'll be going live on Facebook and on Instagram to offer a guided meditation as each song comes out, each instrumental. So stay tuned for that. And you can visit House of Glitter, H-A-U-S, House of Glitter at houseofglitter.org to find out more information about that. So I like to suggest a blanket, a pillow, some water, to stay hydrated during your flow. As always, because I can't respond to your body in real life, be super intentional about the ways that you go in and out of poses. And yeah, let's get started. So we'll begin in a seated position. Maybe wiggle around in your seat a bit to find some more comfort. And you can find length in the spine by rolling the shoulders back, opening the chest. We'll just tap into the natural breath. Just noticing the sensations of inhales and exhales. And I'll invite us to elongate each breath. And while we're here breathing and working toward elongating each breath, I'll invite us to try to send the breath down into the belly, letting the air pass the chest, allowing the diaphragm to do the work here, expanding on the inhales, deflating like a balloon on the exhales. And I'll invite some movement into this breath. You can hold the knees or the shins for this. You can press the chest forward on the inhales, opening up the shoulders, opening up the chest. And on the exhales, around the spine, you can bring the chin to the chest. Releasing the neck, releasing the head. Working with the pace of your own breath. Bringing the shoulder blades closer together on the inhales. Moving the shoulder blades further apart on the exhales as we round the spine. And in these seated cat-cows, You can think about holding the breath just for a moment at the top and bottom of each inhale and exhale. We'll do a couple more rounds here. After your next round of breath, we'll come back to neutral and move into the neck, dropping the left ear toward the left shoulder, keeping the right shoulder down and back. From here, we'll turn toward the shoulder, grab the back of the head, keeping a tall, long spine and keeping that right shoulder down and back. Just let that elbow hang heavy here. Try not to pull or tug on these gentle muscles, these delicate muscles in the neck. When you're ready, we'll release and roll in front of the chest to the other side, leaning the right ear toward the right shoulder, keeping the left shoulder down and back. And return toward the shoulder, grab the back of the head, keeping the left shoulder down and back, continuing that slow, controlled breath. From here, we'll release and just roll back and forth in front of the chest, from shoulder to shoulder. Let's bring the head back in alignment with the spine. We'll inhale to roll the shoulders up. And exhale to release. Inhale the shoulders up. Exhale, release. Inhale the shoulders up. And exhale, release. From here, we'll go to straddle. Your legs don't have to be too wide. And we'll start just by alternating planche and flex. Maybe locking the knees and relaxing as we alternate. And from here, I'll invite us to flex both feet, lock both the knees, engage in all the muscles in the legs for just a moment. And then release. Do that again, engaging with all the muscles in the legs, Locking the knees, pressing the heels outward, toes up toward the ceiling, and relax. We'll do that one more time. Flexing, pointing the toes up as much as we can. And as you relax here, you can fold forward. It's okay to round the spine here. Just let the head hang. Breathing into the sensations in the lower back and the outer hips. From here, we'll crawl to the right side. So you have the option of putting both hands on either side of the right knee, or you can send both hands over to the right side. And we'll work with the flexing of the right foot here, engaging with the knee, pressing the heel far away, reaching those toes up toward the ceiling. And we'll crawl to the other side. Again, flexing on the left side this time, pressing the heel away, engaging with the knee. Let's crawl back through the center one more time. Take a couple breaths here. And from here, we'll press the upper body back up. We'll bring the soles of the feet together. And you can grab the toes or the ankles, opening the chest, opening the shoulders, pressing the chest forward. If you'd like, you can flap the wings, if you will. And we'll take a moment to fold forward here as well. Crawling the hands ahead of you, breathing into the sensation of the hips. You can let the head hang heavy here. Whenever you're ready, we'll roll back up. Let's cross the legs from here. And we'll drop the right hand onto our right side and lift the left arm up and over to stretch the left side body. You can open the chest up toward the ceiling, gazing up toward the ceiling if that feels good for you. Let's drop the left hand to the left side, reaching the right arm up and over. And we'll come back to center. From here, we'll drop the right hand behind us and the left hand to the right knee for a twist. Here you can think about inhaling to send the spine long, exhaling to go deeper in the twist, turning the head all the way to the right to complete your rotation. In these next couple of exhales, I'll invite us, use these exhales to release any tension in the neck, in the shoulders, and the upper back. This way your twist can really start from the core. After your next exhale, we'll lift the arms up and over to move to the other side. Using the inhales to press the chest forward to find more length in the spine, exhaling to go deeper into the twist. To find more length in the spine, you can think about reaching the ears as far away from the shoulders as possible, releasing any tension in the upper back, the shoulders, and the chest. When you're ready, we'll release. We'll do a seated cat-cow again, inhaling to press the chest forward, opening the shoulders. Exhaling to round the spine, releasing the neck muscles, releasing the upper back. Again, inhaling to press the chest forward. Exhale to round. Inhale, chest forward. Exhale, round the spine. From here, we'll move on to tabletop. Stacking the hands the wrists beneath the shoulders and the knees below the hips. We'll do cat-cows here. Again, inhaling to press the chest forward. We'll reach the hips up and back. And on the exhale, round the spine, finding more space between the shoulder blades. Working with the rhythm of your own breath here. We can tap into that slow inhale and exhale, finding that space at the top and bottom of the inhales and exhales. Let's do one last round here. We'll bring the spine back to neutral on the next exhale. Let's release the right foot back, tucking the right toes, opening up the calf. You can press into this, reaching the heel back. You can bounce into this, engaging in the knee, engaging in the quads, and the glutes. And we'll swap legs, pressing the left heel back. Opening up the calf, engaging in the glutes, and the quads and the knee. And we'll drop that left knee down. From here, we'll flip the hands, so face the fingers toward the body, opening up the wrists. You can spread the fingers out into the floor. You can find more height in your tabletop, or you can lean back into your tabletop to kind of stretch out more of the wrists here. Maybe adding some topical heat into the forearms. Let's flip the fingers outward again. And we'll find ourselves in a plank, so you can reach both the feet back here. Working toward a nice flat spine. One modification you can take here is just to lower down the knees. Either way, we're pressing the energy out from our chest, down into the hands, pressing all parts of the hands into the floor, keeping the shoulders down and back. When you're ready, we'll slowly lower down to the mat so you can release the knees, tuck the toes, release the hips into the floor, the chest, and just rest the head for a moment, stacking the hands. Taking this time to recalibrate the breath, to check back in. Again, getting quiet enough to notice what our bodies need in this moment. Take a moment to reflect on how you want to move forward in the flow. And while we're here, I'll invite us again to find that pause at the tops and bottom of the breath. Come back to that moment of stillness. From here, we'll move up into Sphinx, stacking the elbows just below the shoulders. You can press the palms into the floor or into each other. And here, we're pointing the feet, pointing the toes, locking the knees, engaging in the glutes, pressing the hips forward into the floor, engaging in the lower back. And again, finding as much space as we can between the shoulders and the ears, reaching the neck tall and long, keeping the gaze just above our hands. Working with that tension in every part of the body that's connected to the floor. Working toward reaching the upper body up toward the ceiling. Continuing that slowed breath, noticing the pause at the tops and bottom. I'll invite us to press up a little bit more, using the energy and the elbows against the floor. Finding more length in the neck. Engaging more in the lower back. And on your next exhale, we'll release back down to the floor. You can stack the hands again to rest your face. Taking a moment again to recalibrate the breath. Taking a moment to notice what you need before we move forward. Maybe it's a sip of water. Maybe you need to stay here against the floor a little bit longer. Whenever you're ready, we'll press back up again into Sphinx. This time reaching taller, longer with the neck, pressing with more firmness into the floor with the hips. Maybe finding more strength in the legs, pointing the toes. Continuing that slow, controlled breath. Taking our biggest, deepest breath here today. On the exhale, we'll release back down. And we'll go into child's pose. So you can press back, bending the knees, sending them a little bit wider than the hips, touching the toes behind you and sending the hips over the ankles. Rest the head against the floor. Allowing the lower back, the parts that we just contracted, to open up. It's kind of a counter stretch here to Sphinx pose. And from here, we'll come back to tabletop, pressing the hands firmly into the mat again. We'll reach both legs back out for plank. Again, it's okay to lower the knees down as a modification. From here, we'll press up into downward dog with very bent knees. You can press the ankles down, back into the floor, alternating to open up each leg, reaching the hips up, open chest. You can feel really good in this space to feel into that pause at the tops and bottoms of the breath. From here, whenever you're ready, you can walk the hands toward the feet. If you have a pillow or a stack of blankets, I'll invite you to bring that just ahead of the feet, maybe a foot ahead from the feet. You can use your hands on it to rest as we forward fold. Just allowing the head hang heavy here. You can shake the head yes, nod the head no. And from here, we'll bend in the knees just slightly, allowing the lower back to feel into this, letting the head hang heavy a little bit more. Maybe grabbing the back of the ankles. Really give yourself what you need here in this first forward fold. Whenever you're ready, we'll slowly roll up to standing. As if the hands are heavy, we can work toward rolling from the bottom of the spine to the top. Rolling the shoulders back when we stand. And once you're standing, I'll invite you to ground your feet into the floor. You can open up the palms for Tadasana, releasing any tension in the neck, the shoulders, maybe pressing the hips forward just a little bit. Finding as much strength here in this pose as we can. Again, we can take this moment to recalibrate the breath, to feel into any sensations in the physical body, to check in, to notice what we need. Maybe you need to stay here longer. Maybe you want to drop back into forward fold again. Take whatever you need in this moment. We'll move forward into half sun salutations. Inhaling to raise the arms up overhead, extended mountain pose. Finding that pause at the top of the breath before we exhale to swan dive down to forward fold. Finding that stillness at the bottom of the breath before we inhale to flat back. Reaching the hips up and back as much as we can, finding that length. And exhale again, we'll forward fold with bent knees. We'll inhale, raising the arms up overhead for extended mountain pose. Reaching the arms up as far as we can. And then exhale, release the arms back down to the hips. We'll inhale again, arms up overhead. Finding that stillness before we swan dive down slowly. Inhaling again for flat back. Finding again that distance between the shoulders and the ears. We'll exhale to forward fold, bending the knees. Inhale again, arms up overhead. Standing as tall and long as we can. Exhale, arms down by our sides. We'll do this one more time, a little bit slower. Inhale the slowest, most controlled inhale. Exhale to swan dive down, slowly with control. Finding that pause at the bottom of the breath. Pulling that stillness up into the body to flat back. Reaching the crown of the head long. Exhale, bending the knees to forward fold. And then we'll just slowly roll up the spine again. As if the hands have weights in them, rolling up the bottom of the spine to the top. Rolling the shoulders once we get to standing. I'll invite a moment here again with stillness. You can open up the palms, rest the chest, the shoulders, the upper back. Just tap into the breath. Noticing any sensations. Noticing what you might need. Again, this full moon is all about taking a moment to pause, taking a moment to reflect on our needs, on our desires before we move forward. And I'll invite us again to ground into the feet, maybe wiggling the toes, maybe pressing a little bit more firmly into the both left and right side. It could mean pressing the hips forward. Once you've found this grounded, rooted position, you can send the inhales down below the feet, below the soles of the feet, pulling up energy on the exhales from the earth into the body. Reaching all of that energy from the inhales down below the soles, reaching into the earth. Allowing the exhales to pull this energy up into the body. After this rooted breath practice, I'll invite us into one more half sun salutation. We'll inhale the arms up overhead, reaching the hands up toward the ceiling. Exhaling to swan dive down slowly. Finding that stillness at the bottom of the breath will pull up that energy into the body for flat back, reaching the hips up and back. And as we exhale to forward fold, let's press our support a little bit further up ahead. We'll crawl the hands forward into plank over our pillows or stack of blankets. And we want to make sure that our support falls just at the hips, just below the hips. Moving out of plank, we'll go into upward dog. We're pressing the hips into the pillow, untucking the toes, pressing the hips into the support, engaging in the lower back again. Finding that slow, controlled breath, open shoulders, bright chest. Again, we can work toward finding that distance between the ears and shoulders to find length in the upper spine. In our last pose before we go into our backs, we'll find tabletop over our support, and then replace your hands with your support. So you want the pillow or stack of blankets to be right where your hands would land. And then we'll go into child's pose, resting the elbows on our support. So this allows the head to drop toward the floor, the elbows to be elevated above our heads, opening up the shoulders, opening up the space in the armpits. Finding that this might open more space for the breath. If this feels good for you, you can stay here. And if you want to go deeper, if it feels better for you, you can press the support even further up above and just rest the hands flat, palms flat into the pillow, allowing the head to hang heavy. We'll find our last couple of breaths in this pose. And whenever you're ready, we'll prop ourselves back up, remove our support, and we'll meet seated again, soles of the feet into the mat. Here we can reach the hands out long, slowly lowering the back down into the mat. And we'll bring our arms out to a T, knees up toward the ceiling. We can drop the knees to both sides, left and right. Let's bring the legs to stillness. We'll press the left heel up toward the ceiling, grabbing the back of the leg, pulling in toward the body, maybe adding some topical heat behind the knee. From here, we can drop the left ankle onto the right knee, threading the hands behind the right thigh. We'll work toward pulling both legs in toward the chest, working toward a flat spine against the floor, maybe pressing away with the left elbow as we pull in with the right side. Making sure that both ankles are flexed to protect our knees. Breathing into the outer hips. We can take a moment here to notice what we need. Maybe we need to press the back more flat against the floor. Maybe we need to pull in a little bit more or less. When you're ready, we'll release. Bringing both feet back down to the mat. We send the right foot up, reaching the heel toward the ceiling, grabbing the back of the leg. Again, you can add some topical heat to behind the knee. We can use the hands to pull the leg forward. And from here, we'll drop the right ankle on the left knee, threading through to grab behind the left thigh. Again, pulling in toward the chest, we want to flex both ankles and work toward a flat spine against the floor. Take a minute to check in with your body. Notice ways you might need to adjust. Whenever you're ready, you can release. We'll bring both knees in toward the chest, giving your legs a big hug. And then we'll grab the outsides or insides of the feet for happy baby, opening up the knees to either side of the chest, working towards stacking the ankles just above the knees, and working toward a flat spine again against the mat. We can think about the cat-cows here that we did seated, working toward pressing the chest forward and the hips up and back in this position. So we want to do the opposite of a cat. Maybe working toward bringing the shoulders closer to the earth. Maybe we're working toward sending the tailbone closer to the earth. Maybe we're working toward pulling the feet down closer to the earth. Let's check back in with the stacking of our ankles over our knees. And take these last couple of breaths to maybe pull a little bit more firmly, maybe to work toward that flat spine against the floor for these last couple of breaths. And after your next exhale, we can release all the limbs out onto the floor. Shavasana, making whatever adjustments you might need to your body to find comfort. The purpose of this pose is to do no work at all. So take this time just to release all of your weight, to feel supported by the earth. Checking back in with the bottom and the top of the breaths. Reflecting in these next few breaths on the cold full moon. In the cold, everything moves a little slower. So this moon gives us the opportunity to slow down, to reflect, to notice. So take this time, you can notice any thoughts that are passing by. No need to hang on to them, just allow them to pass, noticing, observing. And as many creatures, many animals are collecting their harvest, collecting what they need before hibernation, we can take stock of everything that we have, everything we've manifested. We can take a moment to reflect on all the things that we've achieved. Mental, physical, spiritual. What have we collected over the past year? Who have we collected into our lives? And with this moment of noticing, I'll invite us into a few breaths of gratitude. So as we take our final breaths here in Shavasana, I invite you to feel grateful for all the things you've manifested. Everything you've done up until this point, to give yourself a moment to rest, to give yourself a moment to restore. Finding gratitude and joy that you are here now in this body. Coming back to the tops and bottoms of the inhales and exhales. As we move out of Shavasana into our closing breath, I'll invite us to keep this stillness of the tops and bottoms of the breath with us. Allow that stillness to hold with us, to be a reminder that we can slow down and notice. So you can wiggle in the fingers, wiggle in the toes, bringing some awareness back to the body. And you can roll over to one side in fetal position for a moment of comfort before pressing up into seated for closing breaths. And when you arrive here, try to roll the shoulders back to find that length again. You can rest your hands on your knees, over the heart or at heart center. I'll invite us into our 4 closing breaths. A breath for our individual ancestors that we all bring into our practice, guiding us every day, breathing in and out. A breath to appreciate others for their support, breathing in and out. A breath for this full moon and the rest and reflection that it offers us today, breathing in and out. And a breath for this moment in time to pause, to release, to slow down. Slowest, biggest, deepest breath today. In and out. The loving human in me bows down to the loving human in you. Namaste. Thank you for practicing with us today. Again, you can visit houseofglitter.org or theglittergoddesscollective.org to find more information on our yoga offerings. Again, this is an engagement for the House of Glitter's release of the Winter Walking Meditations album. In these 5 instrumental tracks, we're inviting the community into mental health practices to take a walk or to just relax and listen. And yeah, again, you can find that at houseofglitter.org. Peace and love. Ooh.